How's it going? I just wanted to come on really quickly and preview what happens during the seasonal wellness webinars. Um, as acupuncturists, what we do is look to patterns that exist across the natural world and the natural universe to inform us about what might be happening in our bodies from a pattern recognition standpoint, right? So, things that happen in nature as humans are a reflection and a part of nature and a microcosm, we can gain some insight into how to treat our issues and problems um, by observing what happens in nature, right? So, this five phase theory is a fundamental part of what we learn as a doctor of acupuncture, and it helps inform how I'm going to treat a patient. So, the five phases, you may have heard them called five elements, um, are metal, water, wood, fire, and earth in the context of traditional Chinese medicine. So I always start with the metal. These phases represent temporary states of flux, right? And the flux is expressed as different types and movements of energies. These energies cycle in predictable patterns that exist in relationship with each other across the natural universe. And so, for example, the two main healthy, everything is in order, in alignment patterns are the generating cycle and the controlling cycle. So when we're starting with metal for the generating cycle, metal's the hardest one to sort of contextualize. So think of it like this. Um, if you think of a mountain, we dig deep into a mountain in order to extract mineral ores. So we're thinking of like gold and iron and copper and all those metals that are necessary for a lot of vital functions in our bodies. We do have metals inside, that are part of a lot of our bodily processes. Think of a mountain deep. And if you climb up the mountain, there's a mineral spring that comes up from the mountain, right? Poland Spring is a picture of a mountain on the logo, right? So that water that comes out of that middle of that mountain is going to be the cleanest, most filtered naturally by the stone, best tasting water with mineral content in it. So that is how metal generates water. From there, it becomes pretty simple, right? If we put water on seeds, we generate wood and plant growth, right? Wood, after it ages and dies, and we can use the dried wood to generate fire. Fire burns, and the result is ash that becomes earth. It's a superficial version of earth. And then the fire from the ash or the decaying everything um, that builds up over time on top of the earth over millennia eventually becomes metal again, right? It doesn't take that long necessarily. So, as things decompose into the earth, the minerals are released back into the soil. So, that is how you look at earth generating metal. So, that's our generating cycle, right? And now each one of these emotions has what we call a series of correspondences associated with it. So there's an emotion for each element, there's a sound of the voice for each phase. Um, there's a long list of correspondences that help a doctor of acupuncture understand what's going on in your body as you describe your symptom pattern. So the second healthy relationship is the controlling cycle. So if we start with metal again, metal controls wood in the way an axe can cut down a tree. Wood controls earth in that the roots from plant life stop erosion in the soil, right? Earth controls water. Think of the banks of a river controlling its path. Water controls fire because it puts it out. And then fire, if you take some of that ore and add fire to it, it's the substance or the energy required. Remember, these represent like a flux or a state of energy or movement. Adding fire energy or heat to the metal is what allows you to shape it into the axe to cut down the tree, right? And so those are the two healthy patterns in a perfectly balanced body. Of course, everybody's slightly out of balance, but what we go into during the seasonal wellness webinars is I might talk about, we go into detail into what's going on during each of the, so each phase has a season associated with it, right? So right now I'm filming this the last week of August, so we are in the late summer season, which is the earth phase. So I presented on this earlier today, so I talk about what is the nature of this particular version of flux of energy. What are the patterns that show up in nature? Um, Having the garden, the community garden, this is my first year growing vegetables. These patterns become very, very evident in a way that they don't when you're doing landscape gardening. And so, for example, one of the bad patterns is um, as it relates to the earth phase, when wood, which is supposed to control earth, comes very, very large in comparison and over controlling, you have all kinds of digestive problems because digestion is one of the bodily functions related to the earth phase. So we just go into these kind of details during the seasonal wellness webinars. I hope you sign up and join me someday. But you'll be able to come on, have an opportunity to ask questions, and learn something about the natural patterns um, that if we pay attention and can adjust our habits to live in accordance with these patterns, how that can lead us to better health and better balance.